everyone, Steel Horse here. We're on Silverrun Forest Farm with Jake and Paige again. We're in the second half of April and we're just finishing off the baling of the hay from last time. It's a bit of a hazy morning down here by the sound, and job's going quite well. As you can see, a heap of bales on the field, so we'll be finished getting all of those organised in just a moment. And I have to admit, Jake's a bit daunted by the amount of work that's on the slate at the moment. We've got to get the bales off here, then we need to cultivate so that we can plant the corn. He'd also like to get some fertiliser on the sugar beets, so really quite a lot of stuff to get done. And he's also looking ahead to the next few months, and there's a few expenses coming up that need to be dealt with. So whilst the bank balance is fairly healthy, there are a few big costs coming. We need the silage is made now, so we need to switch the milk cows to TMR, which means a mixer is going to be needed. And then we've got that shed up at the main farm that's partially through construction. The building contractors are ready to do the final stage, but Jake's and Paige have got to come up with around about 90,000, I think it is, for the final payment. So that's going to take some doing. And then of course in June the barley will be ready to harvest, so we need to be able to lease some equipment to get that off. And shortly after, of course, our sugar beet will require it. So when you kind of step back and think about it, there's quite a few expenses in the next few months that we've got to get on top of. Now, that said, it's not all on the outgoing side. There's 40 odd thousand litres of corn that needs to be sold. The price isn't yet at the maximum. That's been sort of teasing a little bit. And then there's these bales. So let's just pull off the field over here, and now that we've got everything baled up, and have a bit of a look. We don't really need hay, so it's definitely an opportunity to sell all of these if the price is right. Let's have a look at what's happening with the pricing. So hay's sitting at 101. As you can see, we've got plenty of it, and the best price is 111. So my guess, whilst that best price hits in January, $10 is not a huge variation. And certainly, rather than store and handle these multiple times, let's have a look. So yeah, so the hay price doesn't vary a lot, and we're sitting pretty much in the middle of the range here, so it's only going to drop from here. So we definitely want to be selling. I think to pick it up, the best way to do it, and in fact Jake's been talking to the guy down the dealer. Yep. I'll just turn you off for a second. Who's been trying to sell him on an auto load stacker for these square bales, but I'm not sure we can extend to purchasing one of those. Maybe you can do a deal to borrow one and see how it goes, but there's certainly a bunch here that we need to sort out. So meanwhile, let's just get this equipment back over to the shed and out of the way. We can put our worker back in. We'd kept them on through that little activity, we would have ended up with a clash while we manoeuvred around. Avoid the traffic and away we go. Yeah, hazy morning here. Be interesting to see how it clears out. There is some rain forecast, but I don't think that's going to get in the way of any of our activities for the day, so we'll just keep soldiering through. And there's also this field that needs cutting when we get a moment, so no end of jobs to be going on with. So we can drop that header in here because we certainly don't need that again for the moment. Where's our baler ended up? It's gone and gotten itself stuck in slow gear again by the looks. So we'll just wait for that to arrive. While we're doing that, we can look at the shop offerings when it comes to bale loaders. So round one, not appropriate. Little square bales. We've got a flat loader that we could use. It's just a lot of handling. So this is the one the guy in the shop is recommending, but at 90,000, it's probably a bit, well, it is beyond us at the moment. However, with the amount of bales we've got, 4,600, we'll do the math on that in a minute, but holding it for $900 a day doesn't seem bad given how many bales we got off that field and how many we're likely to get off this one. Let's just stop you. Fold you up would be a good idea. Could pop you in the shed on the end. But yeah, those hay bales are about 8,000 litres, if memory serves correctly. And so at $100 a 1,000 litres, that's $800 a bale. So it's only 6 bales to pay for that completely for borrowing that trailer. I've managed to bring one and drop it right here. Remember that? So that's not too bad. In fact, with the amount of bales we've got on the field, we'd kind of be crazy to do it any other way, I think. So that's probably the next order of business, is to duck down the store. These steering wheels on this more than of a hindrance than a help sometimes, I think. This windrower. But there we go, we got it all done. You're not, there we go. Unclip. So let's head down and grab the device that we need. And I'll see you at the store. Let's duck in and see if we can do a deal on this bale loader. So this is the one we want. If we don't need any changes to it, we'll just take it as it is for $4,600. So no fussing about. They're not going to do any special pricing. But I think given where we're at and the work that we've got to do, this is definitely the right way to go. It shouldn't take long at all to get the bales off. So we can duck back round. The advantage, if you recall from the sell points for hay, there's really only one, is the market here, so which is just on the right, so very close to the field also, which is a big help. So we can just duck on here into our field, and if we run around and grab all the bales that are on the headland, we can then get the case started on cultivating. The other thing that we'll need to check, which is also potentially something for the list, is what state of lime is on this field, because it may be that we've got to get some lime down as well. We do have some, so, and we have a lime spreader, so no equipment required to get some of these activities going. We leased the cultivator before, so that's just sitting up at the farm. That's easy enough to get. That haze is burning off quite nicely. Turning into a lovely day. Let's just concentrate on the headland. Let's see how we go. There's one right there. Always going to be in the way. Oops. Looks quite excited by how the farm's developing, so and we talked last time, that field there is just sort of begging for having something put in it, probably a crop. So when we get on top of this next run of expenses, that might be the pathway. So that's a full trailer. So let's get over to the shop and find out what a full trailer worth of hay bales is going to fetch us. It's incoming. Wide sweep in, easy access, that's what we like to see. Now 2 points. I'm guessing bales are going to be sold at this end. Let's see. The only downside with these trailers is this guess could bring smiles or tears. Let's see which we've got today. That's smiles, you beauty. 11.5 plus 930. 12,550. 12,450 rather. So 12,500. That is excellent. We'll go and fill another trailer and get the cultivator down to the field, and we'll check back in. Got another trailer full of bales. We're just back up here with the Traction King, grabbing our cultivator. So we'll duck down and get a worker set to taking care of the headlands while we go and sell a couple more trailer loads of bales, and that will set us along the path pretty well, and we can check in on a few of the activities. The animals are in pretty good shape, so horses have plenty of oats and hay, so they don't, and straw for that matter, so they don't seem to consume a lot. Barley crop is looking terrific in there. We will make that field a little bit larger once we have the crop out of it, I think. Here's our candidate. So let's have a look here. In order to create a job, we need to do that. Now, have we... which field is it selecting? I think I've got 2 custom fields defined here, and I don't know that they're quite the same. They're pretty close. Which one's bigger? Water view's the one we want, so we want to delete that one and do water view because it's the bigger field. So then we can go back, create a job, CP field work, the field position is here. You ideally we'd like there. Open the course generator. That work width looks correct. 3 headlands. Start on the headlands, and everything else looks pretty good. And it's going to start on the other side there, okay? Why does it look like it's not following my field? Let's just have a look in here. Vehicle settings. No. Prefer custom fields. Yes. So it should be picking up our custom fields. Where does the course go up here? Let's just have a look. Yeah, see, that's not the course I want you to run. Or is it? Or maybe it is. It will do. So let's head over to the start point and get you kicked off. If it's not quite on the edge, we can always run around the edge at the end and pick it up. First waypoint, off you go. It's certainly on the edge here, so that's good enough. Let's go up to our other tractor we can head across and sell these bales and get the next lot off the field while that cultivating is progressing. The other place that we might look at buying is this land that's directly over the railway line here. We don't own that section yet, and that might be a convenient. There's some sort of flatter land in there to grow into. We might have a look at that as we move towards the end of the year. And very convenient to town, of course. There we go. Another almost 12,500. With still another load to come. So this was definitely the right move. Organising this bale trailer and continuing to process the hay, and we'll have to compare it against the silage to see what the silage prices are like, so that we can make a decision on that last grass field, which we're going to keep as grass, which to make. So let's get this eye up. We've got more than a trailer load here by the looks too. Oh, the other thing that, of course, that's on the to-do list is there's still no news on what the surprise present Paige is being sent. So Jake is as convinced as ever that it's 1 or 2 horses, given that Paige's father and grandfather are only too well aware of Paige's love for horses. So that's another job to add to the list, is where over there their own private stables would need to go. There's plenty of land for it, that's not an issue, but it's just another thing to build and pay for. Thankfully the logging activities in this area are so lucrative. Whilst it's not something he particularly enjoys, Jake could easily spend a day and fill a container, which, you know, those 6-metre containers full of logs are worth mid sort of 40,000. So really 2 containers of logs on top of what they already have would see them clear for all of the expenses they envisage for the next few months. So possibly that's something. We're going to have just one too many here, and there's one outside, which is the small one that was the first baler out because we changed the bale size. So that's not a problem. I'll go and get these sold, and we can get those ones back. Based on the experience, I think purchasing one of these for the farm in the long run would be a good idea. If we're lucky, maybe one will come up on the second-hand market. That was one thing we didn't check while we were at the store. There's another 1,200,000. So while it's what is in the second-hand sales, a tractor that would be very interesting that we can't quite afford, and a corn header, which if we had a harvester might be interesting, although it's quite large for the fields that we're running. Here comes the rain. Let's go back and get that bale off the center of the field. And that one's all clear for the traction king to keep working at and making good progress there. And that edge is exactly where we want it to be. So that course is the one we wanted, I think. That's okay. We've given the correct instructions. Let's pop you back over at the riding school. Might pay to do a calculation at some point to see how many hay bales we really need to hang on to. We certainly know the horses don't go through them quickly at all. Jake put the 2 bales that are over in the feed trigger for the horses over there 3 or 4 months ago, and they're still working their way through. And we see from here, looks like they're still working their way through the first bale. So let's pick this one up that we dropped out before. And it's going to take a while to work through that pile that we've got over there for the cows for the TMR too. So this little silo here is full of oats that we use for the horses. We can drop this off here for now. Let's just check on the horses while we're here. So the stable's full, food's full, and the straw's pretty close. There's still partial bale there. What's that got in it? Can't shift it, but that's still got 3,500 litres there. And there are 2 bales around here. That one's 2/3 done. So we're not going to need to feed the horses for some time yet. Now we need to get some seed down here. It's almost empty for the corn. So let's run up the hill. Let's see what the seed situation is. Got plenty, it's just a matter of where it is, I guess. Okay, so we've got some seed on our right hand side here. Partial bag, a full bag, and a partial bag. That'll be plenty for down there. This is where our supplies of seed and fertiliser are. Let's just have a look at our field state. So we've got our sugar beet growing in a couple of spots. Nothing needs ploughing, which is good to see. We're not going to be rolling based on our experience last time. And in terms of soil, so the pH doesn't look too bad. So I'm guessing we probably don't need to lime. There's a section there that might benefit But by and large, the limes looks pretty good. So we might give the lime a miss on this field for now. This is our grass field up here, so we don't need to be liming that, I don't think. And we will need, as you can see, to get some fertiliser going. So what we might do while we're waiting for that cultivating to finish is go and fertilise the 2 fields over the back. So let's do that. Hopefully by the time we get there and get organised, the rain may have subsided a bit, because we're not going to be able to spread with it raining this heavily. We've got about half a tank of fertiliser, so we might fill it up while we're here and waiting for the rain to subside. There's our silage over there that we made last time. So almost finished fermenting. A couple of % to go. And our cows, a little bit of milk. They've got a little bit of food for the moment, so that's fine. So we can probably wait until next time to sort out their feed requirements and get them switched across to TMR. It's almost a full tank. Can we fill you right up? Still didn't quite get it. Partial bags in the shed. This will just be a quick strip. We're not going to, part of our experiment, actually we might be able to. Can we vary the spread width on this? Yes, we can. So we will be able to fertilise that little strip down the centre there. We'll go and check back in, firstly on the weather. So the rain should clear early afternoon, so we might have to wait for that to pass, but we'll first of all go and check in with the cultivating. Now, to give us a sense of how we're going, a little trick is if you open up course play, generally speaking, in a sort of a medium-sized field, the number of waypoints that course play puts in is roughly evenly distributed. They get a bit tighter at the corners, but you can see from the proportions about how far through the field you are. So in this case, we're up to waypoint 612 of 1677. So he's about a little over a third of the way done. So just a little way to sort of determine how much you've got to go. Well and truly on the up and down, so should progress reasonably quickly, although it seems to be taking an age to manoeuvre into position here. But for now, we'll wait an hour or so and come back when the rain clears. appears to be stopping. Maybe it's actually stopped. And we've made good progress on this field. We're almost done with our cultivating. It was kind of cathartic watching our worker progress with the rain falling. So going to find his way back to the strip that he's working on, but we might go and take care of that. We'll take care of our fertilizing here. Now let's give it a bit of a guess as to how wide we need. Needs a fair amount of fertilizer. I'm guessing we don't need the full width. What's the 42 meters? So let's bring it in maybe 1. Probably could have come in another 2. Not quite. Let's see, what did we mess up there? So now if we go down to a single width, we can do the strip we missed along the side here, as we just try and experiment with the best use of this tool on this shaped fields. We've got one over the other side. As you can see, we're not powering through the fertilizer, so that's okay. Driving a bit more on the crop than I would like. And then let's just do this strip that we've planted along here. So that spread width is fraction wider than we need, but interestingly, if we're going to keep planting like this, maybe we could get a smaller spreader just to be able to do a section like this, or ideally widen it out to plant double the width that we've got around here. So a long skinny field wouldn't be a bad thing. It was interesting, there's a section there that wasn't sampled. I don't believe here has been sampled either, so not sure. We'll check that at the bottom of the hill. Let's just see what it's recorded. If we go and have a look at our, oops, fertilization now. So that looks pretty good, but we don't have any data about the section where we haven't sampled. So my guess is it just ignores the fertilizer that we've spread down that bit there, because there's no way for us to see what's happened with precision farming. So that's okay. We learnt, I suspected that that would be the case, but it'll be interesting. We might walk over it in a minute. Let's put our width back to maximum and get this bit of the field sorted. This is our corn, which hasn't struck yet. See, around about 150 kilograms a hectare going on here. Got no idea why it can't work in acres, given I've got the units set to acres, but it's the game setting precision farming. Where are we going here? I'm just gonna leave a tiny smidge in the center. It's a very quick job getting our fertiliser sorted there. Let's just jump out and have a look. See what it's given us. Yeah, so pH is okay, nitrogen is perfect, and our yields up around the 97-98%. So that's what we want to see. And then if we have a look also over here at our sugar beet, we should. So our yield's down at 60% here because it hasn't taken much account of the fertiliser we've applied. But up at the top where we've got the soil type, once it should jump up a little bit, I would hope. There we go, up to 98. So I guess if we were wondering, we do need to do the soil sampling, even when we're only doing the strips, because it makes a big impact on yield just because of the way the game operates and treats it. It doesn't allow you to fertilise untested soil, unfortunately. Can't even make a guess, so that's okay. We can quite easily come back and sample those sections. It's not a super big challenge. I noticed that we've finished down the bottom, so we can get the seeding underway. Our cultivating is done, so while it was raining, we loaded up the ute with that seed and have taken that down to the seeder, so we're all set for the next stage of the process. And looking at the time and how long it took the case to run over the field, it should be able to do the same sort of job with the seeding, and we'll get that in today, which is terrific. And meanwhile we'll fertilise the little bit of sugar beet we've got down here. There we go, that's all looking tremendous. Walk on here. Yeah, so the pH is showing as generally good, so we won't bother to lime this field. It's looking like we've got weeds growing, so we will get weeds. Pick you up. Take you back over. We will get weeds come through, but that's okay. We've got our weeder. We can deal with those when they come through next time. Most important now is just get this seed in. It's had a nice thorough soaking of rain, so if the weather now stays warm with the seed, we should get some good germination. It'll be fabulous. Or just got through before the train. Just pop the cultivator on the side over here. Jake's been thinking of cutting out some parking spaces for the stable here, just so that that people that stable their horses here have got somewhere to park. We should be able to fill. Why did you not? Let's try hooking on. That will always work substantially better. And we want to be planting corn. 360 litres of seed in there. We'll head across. And get the corn planting underway. I think the seeder is just, or the planter rather, is just a couple of feet wider than the cultivator, so we will need a different course. Have a look, yeah, it's 3 feet wider, so we'll still go with the same basic configuration because that worked quite well. Has that generated us the course? Yep, it has. And so the start of this one's in a similar spot. Except the one thing we want to do differently, isn't it? Let's create this job open. We want to start, because we're seeding, in the center. In which case, our start point's up ahead of us, up here. By the looks. There it is. Can just make it out. And we'll have to keep a bit of an eye on things because he's going to require a few refills, I think, along the way. Which way is this? Is coming back towards us. I'll just open our... We're on first waypoint. Straighten you up. And off you go. If we just look at it while I think of it. So our corn prices, because that's the crop we've got a full silo and then some, a full trailer on top to sell. So this is the odd sort of graph that our corn prices are subscribing. It is suggesting that the corn price is going to jump up over the next couple of months. We've sort of just been hanging around this $700 point, which is about where we are. There is quite a sizable range. So hopefully sometime in July, after we've got the barley off, corn will be popular and we'll be able to empty our silo. But that's another challenge we might have if we harvest in July, is where are we going to put the barley? So another problem for Jake to work his way through. Nice problem to have, too much crop. So let's just get this sorted, and it might be easier to work with less width, I think. Just because of the size of the field. But pleasingly, our fertiliser's gone a fairly long way, which is good. by the time we get to next season, we'll have some manure potentially to spread, so we'll be able to use that to keep our fertiliser costs down a little, and or our slurry. We'll require some new equipment. We can look at that for next season. In the meantime, this job didn't take us long at all. We missed a smidge back here. Alright, just loop round and get that patch in the centre. And that should be the field done. Given it's the second time we've planted it, hopefully it's in good shape. So that's looking a lot better. So we're going to get weeds come through here. And we're going to get weeds come through over here. We can go ahead and fertilise this. But would probably be better to wait until the crop comes up. Corn shouldn't need as much fertiliser. So we'll save that as a job for next time, I think. Take this back up to the shed and then pop back over with... we'll need the weeder again, but we might... we lift the cultivator on the front of this. Let's find out. Save us one trip. It's not far to our driveway. We'll just pop up and back to the house, and then come down and top up the case. Feel like some gates and a little bit of a nicer entrance to the farm's warranted here. Depending on how those trees that we've planted go up in the grass field, we might plant a bit of a sort of an ornamental tree planting up the driveway. That'd be probably quite nice. Let's just pop the cultivator over here. That's the plow, the roller that gave us some trouble, so I might experiment with it next season on a different crop to see if it was something peculiar we did with the sugar beet, or whether it's just a generic problem with that roller. I don't know what the case is. So you can pop there and we'll run down to the truck. So let's just see how fast are you going through seed there. Certainly making fairly reasonable progress on the field. And almost out. That was good timing. Let's grab the truck. There we go. Right on cue. Fill you up. you on to the next waypoint, and away you go. Oh, you missed a little bit there. Never mind. Catch that later. But it's just gone 4 o'clock. You get the drill. I'm guessing there's probably 3 more fills to be done here. So we might leave it with him seeding off into the distance and bid you farewell for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And when we get back in May, all the crops will be in. And hopefully we might get some insight into this surprise that Paige's grandfather's got coming. And that may involve us adding another stable up on the hill there. We'll see how we go. So thanks for watching. Stay safe. See ya.